What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is October 2nd of 2017. Well, folks, as you all know on the channel, from time to time I like to share a trading tip with all of you out there to help you become better traders and investors. And today I'm going to be answering a question I get asked way too much. Nick, when do I know when to buy? What are, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy 10x? Oh, me say go, what should I do? There's so many questions I get in the community in relations, well, more, rather than questions, it's more of requests. Nick, what do you think? I want to get your opinion on this. Folks, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm no whiz in anything. You shouldn't blindly follow me, nor should you follow any other YouTube out there in that regard. What you should do is learn the technical signs as well as the fundamental to buy into a cryptocurrency or spot a good buying opportunity where you can mitigate your risk and have a much better reward potential for your investment or trade. So today I'm going to be doing what I know is best for you and sharing how you can spot these signs on your own. So today I'm going to be showing you 3 signs to spot winners in the market and make a good return on your trading investment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. And the first one I want to talk about is consecutive winners on a pullback. What does that mean? Let's take a look here at ARK. If we take a look at ARK's price action, ARK has had a very nice run up over its more longer trend. As we can see, we have a lot of nice short uptrends that have returned very nice, and it has a nice pullback each time. But even with those pullbacks, it continues to hold a decent amount of its gains and rally to new highs. We've seen this consecutively ever since it launched its ICO. And because of that, it's continued to rally to newer highs. And we even got a rally up to 120,000 Satoshis. Now this, on a long-term perspective, looks fantastic. On a swing trader perspective as well, this looks great. Because what we're seeing now is not only did we see a great uptrend, but we're seeing ARK hold a lot of its gains, and it's starting to find a slowing support around this level, around 60,000 Satoshis. So we're seeing it now at a pullback for ARK. It's had a great uptrend. However, we've seen it in the past where even though it has this pullback, a lot of people will be like, oh my god, it's gone from 120,000 Satoshis to 60,000. It's probably going to go to zero. No, folks, this is actually very good. We want to see pullbacks, but we want to see the holding of price strength confirmation. As we can see, each time it's had an uptrend, it's held a decent amount of its gains. Now, not all of it, but it's usually come back to correct those losses from that pullback. And it's a healthy correction. You need winners, even as much as they are the king of crypto. They might be the best, cryptocurrency in your portfolio, your favorite long-term holding, and you might think they're worth, a bajillion dollars. You still have to consider the fact that things have pullbacks. And if they can have pullbacks, that's healthy, that's good. And that means that you're most likely going to go to new highs in the future, much like ARK has over the past. So, again, even though if you've watched my my video talking about some good buy opportunities that we're watching right now, which ARK is one of them, even though it hasn't touched my levels yet, again, generally speaking, this is the kind of range you want to buy. You want to see something that's been winning consecutively and is on a nice pullback close to around 50%. Okay? And speaking of that, that's our next point. 50% pullbacks. Okay? Now, this is getting away from kind of talking about the longer term perspective. This is more kind of a short term perspective. Even though it's good to have past history of consecutive 50% pullbacks, a 50% pullback itself and holding that 50% pullback is a fantastic sign to buy into something. So, for example, we saw Navcoin compared to Bitcoin have a massive run up over the past few days, a few weeks ago. However, we've had a nice steady pullback. This wasn't an instant pump and dump where it went up and then down back to its lows and maybe even lower. No, it held a lot of its gains. Now, of course, it's common for a correction like this to happen. I always tell people not to buy something after it's gone up 300 or 400%, because generally speaking, it's due for a correction, okay? Now, what you want to do is you want to look for that pullback not to drop instantly, but to have a nice steady correction backwards as Navcoin has, especially compared to how fast it ran up, but slowly pulling back and finding common support around a 50% pullback. If we take a look here, the major amount of resistance for this was around the 40,000 Satoshi range. Well, now it's around 20,000 Satoshis. That's a perfect, clean 50% pullback in price action. So when you can find 50% corrections in price action, make sure to see, you can see those common levels of support where many times it's tested 20,000 Satoshis in this case. And once it's held that level, once it's held that 50% correction level multiple times, you can see that as a form of price strength confirmation to buy into that cryptocurrency. Now again, It's not an absolute telltale sign to buy in. Sometimes it can continue to go down, as we've seen with some cryptocurrencies out there. However, again, it's a great sign and it's a good positive confirmation that it's most likely set to go back to new highs. The last one I want to talk about is Vertcoin. And on this Vertcoin example, I want to talk about two indicators, the 21-day and the 50-day moving average. So how do we get those set up? Now, we've talked about these on my channel before, but I'm going to go ahead and set them up on my chart. So first off, you want to look up moving average. You're going to want to set these values to 21 and then also to 50. All right, so with these moving averages, there's a reason I want to talk about using these, and I'm going to tell you how I use them as a bullish indicator. The 50 and the 21-day are signs of momentum. They're signs of bullish price action so long as the price action's holding above those levels. So for example, we have here our 50-day moving average. Here it's the darker color of the two. Actually, I'll go ahead and, just for simplicity's sake, I'll go ahead and make that a brighter, more noticeable color. I'll do the same with the 21-day. So now that we have a much more standout, we can see that as we saw now, Vertcoin come up, we could see that it maintained support relatively well on the 50-day after it had a nice little uptick. And from there, we could see price strength confirmation. We could see that it had found support on the 50-day. And once it truly broke past and had its next uptick, again, we're looking for those pullbacks. If we can see a pullback and find it coming to the 21-day moving average rather than the 50-day, once it got over the 21-day, that is a very solid bullish indicator. Again, I always recommend you all use moving averages. They seem like simple tools that everyone's using, but really they aren't being used by everyone. And it can be such a great indicator, especially in early markets such as cryptocurrencies, where these simple indicators can really help you gain an advantage. And I always recommend, if you can see some consistent support on the 50-day, and then again, consistent support on the 21-day moving average, that is a market momentum mover. That is something that is seeing confidence, exuberance, and that's when you want to buy in on a pullback. So again, we talked about pullbacks earlier on. This would be a great level to buy in. It's not a complete 50% pullback, but again, this one has been showing consistent signs of going up over time. And along with that, it's holding on the 21-day, a very solid sign that this is ready for some continued momentum to the upside. That being said, folks, those are my 3 tips I want to share with you all today. I hope you got some good resources out of the tips that I gave you. If you all have a question or an indicator or a trading strategy you want me to cover down below, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you all want to see on this channel and stuff. I love covering trading tips that can help you all become better traders and investors. But until then, everyone, I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.